The mighty force will have no limit. Don't maintain within just looking, seeing, and knowing. Don't do that. Otherwise, even you are in the open place, the mind will not be widening out. Even you are in a narrow place, open up widely, without composure of the mind. It will discard the mind. Discarding on its own, no grasping on its own. It doesn't maintain any state of mind. This will be beyond opening. Maintaining anything, even you are in the open place, your mind is limited and narrow. Therefore, this is your genius. Genius in blessing. Because even though you are in the toilet, even though you are in a narrow place, when you are not drowning and maintaining, you still can bless. Discarding without limits on its own. That is more of purification. Right now, use the purification without traces more constantly. You are already on the water. There is no need to be concerned to do water blessing. In the water, there are so many things in there. Both the system of the woeful realms and not. They are in the water, in the ocean. Sometimes bodhisattvas pay back their lifetime as a dragon, as a naga, paying back their karma here and there. Sometimes they also pay back within hell realms. Even the bodhisattvas could become authorities in hell realms. They are very serious in their role, in their responsibility, taking things so real, being so righteous. They're paying back karmic difficulties in hell, taking responsibility there. Therefore, purifying without limits, without choosing for whom, for anything. Don't maintain, not composing the mind, bypassing stillness and indifference, that which is boundless, awakening or brightening without taking in itself. Non-attachment doesn't take in itself, proceeding without grasping for anything, no grasping on its own, no grasping even for the non-grasping itself, simultaneously with awakening and brightening. Then it will purify and dissolve everything all by itself. Don't waste the time sinking in stillness and indifference or equanimity. Everything is in the way of no grasping on its own, in the way of discarding on its own. No grasping on its own with everything simultaneously. No grasping on its own is all about my, no, not, none. Mind is all of no grasping on its own. It's the same essence. Non-attachment on its own.
ให้วิชาการโปรดมาแล้วลูกก็ใช้วิชาการโปรดให้เต็มที่หน่อย
Use the subject of the blessing fully. It's given to you already. The worldly ways, they give the subject of earning the living. This is different. When you get this subject of the blessing, use it fully. If not using the essence of discarding on its own, one will just be drowned and maintain the states of mind on and on like that. It's not going to uncompose itself. Proceed with everything in the way of no grasping on its own. This will bypass everything without traces. In other words, it's called purifying everything without traces, or purifying through the emptiness for everything. Proceed thoroughly. Let's not be limited, child. Otherwise, it will not be different from being paralyzed. Just like sinking in sitting or lying position, that is mental paralyzed, physical paralyzed. Mentally, one is not realized when one is sinking and drowning. That is mental paralyzed. Physically, is like sinking in lying and sitting. Difficult to change positions. This is paralyzed physically. Sinking until it's difficult to remove from such position. That is sunken state. Therefore, listen. Everything is unlimited, child, boundless. No grasping for the non-attachment itself. Discard the non-attachment itself. There is no limit in the non-attachment. Uninvolvement has no limit. No grasping is also unlimited. That which is not about an attachment is also unlimited. Uninvolved within itself is boundless. No is not even no itself is boundless. Nothing is limited, child. So don't be limited. Discard the discarding itself is boundless, child. Mind is unlimited. Let's be direct. Mind, no, not none, is not limited to itself. Then it will be the purification of the emptiness without traces. Use it for the blessing. This is not for the sake of grasping for anything. Let's not be obsessed and be limited with just sound, smell, taste, touches, looking, seeing and knowing, feelings, emotions, stillness, indifference, equanimity, or limited with just any types of Dharma. Dharma is a made-up thing.
ไม่แค่แม้กระทั่งไม่แค่เองลูกสิ่งที่ไม่มีขอบเขต
Limitation is not limited with just itself, that which is boundless. This samsara is not about a journey, a trip, not about taking a trip. It's all about samudaya, causes of suffering and the suffering. All about karma and its results of karmic difficulties. Therefore, for samsara, just help through giving ending, through purifying of the emptiness. It's not a sightseeing, it's not taking a trip in it. It's all about suffering and difficulties. Shifting and changing is continuous within each atom of the physical world. There is no such thing as having enough truly or fulfilled truly. There is no such thing as having enough with anicca, dukkha, anatta. Sound, smell, taste, touches and shapes are just shifting and changing, unable to sustain. There is no true fulfillment from the anicca. Be thorough. With everything discarding on its own thoroughly. With everything non-attachment is on its own thoroughly. Knowing is shifting and changing and meaningless in itself. It's impossible to be fulfilled with it. Knowing this and that, or crystallized in knowing, there is no fulfillment within it truly. The knower is anicca, the seer is anicca and anatta in itself. No fulfillment within seeing and knowing really. It's just gonna become samsara within itself. That which is boundless, child, this will bypassing seeing and knowing without traces, purifying it. Anicca is always shifting and changing, discarding itself, the anatta as well. Shifting and changing, discarding itself. Nothing can gain anything truly. No such a thing exists. Every atom shifting and changing at all times with everything. That's why it's called anatta. It's impossible to be attached to and fixated upon at all. The states of mind or any conditions are not intrinsic. Everything is anicca and anatta, shifting and changing at all times in every atom of its happening, of every state and atoms of states of minds. They are not intrinsic and substantial in itself, always discarding itself at all times. Therefore, the sentient beings in this samsara cannot be fulfilled with anything truly, within sound, smell, taste, touches and shapes, within knowing and seeing. No such a thing that can be fulfilled truly. Therefore, let's conclude with the non-attachment on its own. Not attached to the non-attachment thoroughly. There is nothing that is eternal, and the eternity doesn't exist either.
อุปโลกอุตสาหสมมติว่าอมตะมหานิพพาน
They made it up as Mahasanyata Nibbana as eternal. Nibbana is not even Nibbana. This is disaster of language. This is tempting the urge from the beings to obtain the eternity of Mahasanyata Nibbana. But they don't realize that emptiness is not emptiness, Nibbana is not Nibbana. How can it be made as eternality? That which has nothing to do with birth or age, sickness and death is not considered as eternal. That which has nothing to do with the cycle of birth and rebirth is not called eternal. Everything is just assumed up language, terminologies. Terminologies must purify themselves, discarding themselves, not to be made and be deluded with it. Single-mindedness seems to be enabled to fixated upon, but it is the desire, delusion, and delusive attachment that is joining in together and crystallized. This is highly pushing forward, extremely pushing forward to get it. It's misleading that is possible to be fixated upon. It becomes substantial. It's just a misleading. It's the delusive attachment that is pushing forward extremely, unrealizing that it is everything is anicca and anatta, always shifting and changing, and is unable to sustain. It's meaningless. Because even a contact a little bit already been shaken. Single-mindedness as well. After such state, one can become anxious, angry. No such delusive attachment can push itself to always sunken, because it is always anicca, always shifting and changing. This is under the law of the natural characteristic of all things. Everything is always shifting and changing without exception. The three characteristics of our nature within this samsara is anicca, dukkha, anatta. This has been enlightened from our Buddhas in every Buddha era. Nothing is not anatta in itself or anicca in itself. Even the single-mindedness, it is also anicca in itself and anatta in itself. The one mind, the single mind, is like that. Nothing is not anicca in itself. Nothing is not shifting or changing in itself. The nature of forms is not that. It's not anicca in itself. It's in the states. It's always shifting and changing at all times. Therefore, all the attempt to be fixated become samudaya, become causes of suffering and suffering. Even the state of not attached to something is also the state that is anicca and is the samudaya in itself. Not attached to the non-attachment itself thoroughly. Even from itself, not attached to the non-attachment itself thoroughly.